Well, it looks like the video was working, but it's working very, very blue. Yes, we're going to be working very, very blue today. Bottoms. That's right, bottoms. We're going to be working blue. Okay, let's just... But at least we do seem to be... There we go. Okay. Yeah, in a lot of engineering disciplines, there's the idea that you can't really relax until something goes wrong, because something's gonna go wrong. So until that thing goes wrong and it's solved, you can't really just relax and hope that things are going to go well. So fortunately, we did the hell out of that last night, in the sense that, well, the thing that went wrong was that the stream couldn't start. But in the larger theory, the idea that the video starts, it's working fine, everybody can hear me, but there's like a blue cast to everything. That's welcome, because I go right back into Logitech camera settings. I turn on auto white balance, which I turned off because I seem to be a bit jaundiced, which is actually completely correct. I just don't want to look jaundiced, you see. But you know, all the primping and powder and festooneries of the YouTube influencers are unknown to me, because I am but a simple commentator, streaming to you, the illustrious viewer. Okay, so so we're going to do a Q&A a little bit later, but before then, I thought we'd go through some of my favorite things, and we're talking about favorite material things here. So none of that nonsense of, but really I think that my favorite thing of all is the knowledge that I have loved and have been loved. No, not garbage like that. I'm talking about actual material possessions. And there should be a little bit of a warning, a little just bit of a disclaimer beforehand, that as you should know, as an enlightened person, possessions are, each possession that you acquire is like another brick, if you can imagine this huge wall that you're building, that's a barrier between yourself and enlightenment. So, for instance, this half-drunk can of polar seltzer, it's a possession, and so it's preventing me from reaching enlightenment, because I can't get through that. Well, I can get past through that pretty damn nice. But in terms of, in the larger scheme of things, so I mean, I'm perfectly okay with, like, the season 7 of The Amazing Race on DVD. Okay, fine. I'll climb over that, no problem. It's just that when you find out that like, you've been holding on to a Arnold Schwarzenegger Last Action Hero McDonald's 32-ounce soda collector's cup, and that's the thing you can't, that's making the wall towards enlightenment too high to climb. Was it worth it? I ask you, really, was it worth it? Well, but yes, we actually was what I did the other night was, I actually made a list of, again, some things came to mind immediately. Other things I had to, like, make sure that I'd actually acquired them in 2020. So what I did was I went to most of the, particularly in 2020, where I acquire things from is largely Amazon. So I said, okay, show me a list of everything that I bought in 2020. So I'm going through the list, and it's like January, like, oh, a new pair of hiking boots, and oh, and here's a stout but warm and colorful sweater for all the times I'm going out, and oh, that's right, and I'm gonna need like a necktie for that formal occasion I'm gonna be going to a little bit later on. And then you get into like mid-February, early March, and it's rubber gloves, alcohol, masks, gauze, guns, snare traps, big 80-gallon tubs of dried macaroni and cheese. And then it becomes like, oh, jigsaw puzzle, sewing things. It's sometimes there are gaps in recorded history, and we have to figure out, historians have to figure it out based on like collateral information. And if history ever loses understanding of the fact that we had a pandemic that really hit everybody at around March of 2020, that's all going to look very, very strange. That why was now suddenly nobody's buying anything that involves going outside, having fun, or having any sense of optimism whatsoever. Now they're all sort of hunkered in as though the end times are coming. And then they were all buying sourdough starter kits and jigsaw puzzles. So what could have happened in March to have generated that purple cloud of insanity to drop down on humanity in such a way? So I do have my list right here, and most, like I said, these aren't. I'm not Oprah. Again, witness the level of decor around me, as well as the fact that I'm not quite as charming or as avuncular over the medium of the televisual as Ms. Winfrey is. So it's not as though I spend the entire year being pitched by PR people about things that they want to put, that they would love to get on my best of 2020 or my favorite things list. These are actual things that I have been grateful that I have acquired in 2020. And not all of them, some of them are tech related, some of them are software. Not all of them are. We're going to start in the housewares department. And with this is the from WORX. This is the WXO81L ZipSnip cutting tool. I'm going to try to see if I can, let's see if I can copy paste links as we go. I'll put them in the show description afterward. But yes, now here's what it is. It is sort of like a miniature circular saw, and the blade is just like a spinning like box cutter sort of thing. And what it is it is a tool for like cutting through like household stuff. Chiefly, I bought it for cardboard. Now, cardboard is the bane of my existence. It's like if I were a crafter, the cardboard is my glitter, so to speak. It's that thing that is everywhere all at once, and I can't possibly get rid of it in the house because I'm always getting things shipped over to me. Sometimes it's like loaner hardware from companies of stuff I'm going to be taking a look at and reviewing. I can't get rid of the boxes because that's what I'm going to need to ship the stuff back in. But also, again, Amazon boxes, all kinds of cartons, and they just get stacked up. And you know what it is when you're trying to like tear down boxes. Okay, so you cut them open at the seams, you flatten them out, but now you get this sort of springy like parallelogram that wants to spring open again. And as you're carrying a stack of these things out to the recycling, they're slippery, they want to fall. It's just such a horrible thing that I don't want to even deal with it, so I don't. Which is only a temporary solution because eventually I wind up with even more boxes to deal with, and it's an even more insurmountable thing. But not with this. This has been such a game changer for me. Only like $50 or so, because like look as it so happens, I happen to have a pizza box with me, which I've pre-prepared here. But look how easily. There you go, and then you just go. Cuts right through this like with very, very little effort. It's very, very safe. It's not as though it's not like a circular saw where it's like spinning its way through. You actually have to push through the cardboard with a small amount of effort. So you're always pushing this thing away from you. And the result is like little pieces of cardboard that are very, very tame and manageable. And you just put them in a grocery bag, or I stuff them in a grocery bag. And as a result, I'm having much less. It used to be that parts of the house looked like I was trying to build a fort, or perhaps I was filming a 1980s action movie, like not B-list, but like C or D-list, where there's always that fight scene that happens in that warehouse where they manufacture empty boxes. So when people get thrown through, exactly, you know what I'm talking about. And now it's just filled with shopping bags full of ripped up cardboard. But yeah, it's very, very satisfying when you wind up with a tool that it does exactly what it's advertised to do. It works kind of perfectly. It is safety. You have to squeeze this before you push the trigger, sort of thing. I'm sure that I could harm myself in a very harmful way were I foolish enough to put my finger inside the spinny bladey thing. But there's something instinctive about seeing a spinning razor that says, maybe I'm not going to touch that. And if you have that instinct, I suggest that you follow it because it is a very, very good instinct. So that's the first item on that list. Continuing in the housewares department. Now, a lot of these things are just not that complicated, but they're great ideas that don't hit you until until much, much later. So this is a simple, like 1 liter steel coffee pot. It's actually the Amazon Basics model. And why is this such a miraculous thing? Were you so pleased to have to have discovered this thing? Well, because I'm like a morning tea drinker, and especially in the winter, I'll also drink like lots of tea and cocoa as an alternative to actually paying for additional heating. But usually what I would do is I would like boil a kettle of water on the stove, fill like a thermos with it, and put it on the nightstand of my bed. So or move that into the office so I'd have hot water wherever. Now, what I do is I just have this. I have this 1 liter electric kettle on the nightstand, and I've got like a 2 liter bottle of water that I keep refilling, and I've got like all my tea stuff and a couple of mugs and spoons like on the nightstand as well. So when I wake up, all I do is I sort of sit up, fill this fill this thing up to like about here, press down the thingy. Those of you who are fans of the Project Binky Bad Obsession Motorsports thing, this is also the cue for we're going to have a cup of tea and think. And then and then a minute later, I've got hot boiling water. I fill my cup with tea, and I get to spend like the first 10 minutes of my day like Bertie Wooster, kind of, where I haven't exactly had a valet hand me a hot cup of tea, but it's damn near close. Before I've even gotten out of bed, I have tea, and that makes it not quite so challenging to like stay awake and get started with my day because I've got tea going. I'm certainly gonna stay awake to get that tea. And previously, I would often just like go, oh, it's 9:30 in the morning. Isn't that interesting? Okay, back to bed. Yeah, see, it's such a simple thing, but it's these little tiny luxuries of being able to just and things that it never occurred to me. I've been drinking tea for like at least 20 years, and always it's like it took me an embarrassingly long time before I realized that perhaps there's an easier way than having to get out of bed on a cold day, walk into the kitchen, make tea, and then carry it back into the bedroom. But finally, I've got like sort of the perfect thing again. And these things are now. This is also an indication of how product reviews can really screw you up. My first anytime, particularly when I'm shopping for just a basic housewaresy sort of thing that I don't care about. I just want someone to point me towards the one that I should buy. Of course, I start with the wire cutter, and they've got like 10,000 words on the best electric kettle, and all these reasons and these experts who are absolute experts. They come extremely highly recommended. No complaints about that, but they recommend like this 2 liter thing with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and some sort of a test package because it's very, very important that you have the submersible high pressure hot water camera so you can observe for lime scale. And I'm spending my time just looking, reading, and absorbing all this information about electric kettles before I realize that I don't actually care. I just want something that fills with water and boils water. And okay, turns out that I didn't need that. All I had to do was, and also for when something is this cheap, I don't believe in. It's a great thing with the idea of, I'll just buy something cheap and when it breaks, I'll replace it. There are some categories where that's the only thing that's available. There are no heritage electric tea kettles. It's something with a removable like base plate. It's got like a heating element inside it. It's got steel. It's got a spout. And it's going to work for a few years, and then it's going to stop working, and then you throw it out and spend another $30. And unfortunately, that's the way of the world. Things are not going to go badly after that, but that's how things are going to have to be. Okay, now I was speaking a little bit about going through purchasing history before the pandemic panic, during the panic, and then after the panic, when we were just sort of like in cruise control through this pandemic isolation. Now, it's not like it's a tradition to buy myself treats and toys like in January or February. But the thing is, I've got I recommend like movies and books and stuff on Amazon. I have Amazon Associates links, affiliate links. Actually, the things that I'm pasting into the chat here that have that are to Amazon are Amazon affiliate links. So the idea is that if you click on that link, whether you buy this item or not, whatever it is you buy from Amazon during that session, I'll get a little bit of a kickback that I accept in the form of Amazon store credits. And I say, and over the holidays, I save them up so that when they all come in, like in February and March, it's a nice little pile of stuff that I will absolutely spend just on things I'm just going to enjoy, fun things I probably can't really justify. And so, so I want you to fast forward to it's January or February of last year, and I'm thinking, okay, so gee, I wonder what I want to buy, what I want to buy myself. And one of the items, again in February before the pandemic like really hit, was I really want to learn how to sew. I hem my own pants, but I do it by hand. I don't do it really, really well. There are also like little things I'd love to be able to make for myself. Also, I found the like the sewing area of YouTube. There are a lot of really great creators on YouTube that make great videos about sewing. It's like, oh, that'd be it'd be kind of fun to like learn how to make a waistcoat or something like that. So I almost bought like a sewing machine just a few weeks before they became like unobtainium, because everybody suddenly wanted to buy a sewing machine to learn how to sew masks and figure out something to do to fill the time during all that moments of isolation. But I decided not to buy the sewing machine. I instead bought but you know what? I was thinking like I wind up. I'm in Boston like 2 or 3 times a week for either for radio or for one thing or another. And I like to spend hours and hours just walking around the city. And even when I'm not going to the city, I love just walking around my neighborhood, like carrying my laptop and a book or two to the library or to the coffee shop. Yeah, I like the bag that I have, but I should buy that. I think I'm going to finally treat myself and buy that really expensive Filson field bag that I've had my eye on for a long, long time. And well, golly, here it is. And it's beautiful. But of course, like not 3 weeks after I bought it, the lockdown happened, and I have not fired this thing in anger since. Whereas in a normal like week, I'd be going to Boston at least once. I would be going going out several times. This would be like filled with my laptop and my phone battery and cables and whatever book I'm reading right now. So yes, this has been a $350 ornament in my my bedroom closet. But it's a wonderful bag, and that's it. I'm not sorry that I bought it. What I like about it is that it's sort of like a semi water treated canvas that has all these features that I've come to really, really like in a laptop bag or like a day city carrying around satchel, for bits and pieces from different things that I've used over the years. One of which is that I like the idea of having just a flap that just closes like that. Because the thing is, when you have like something that zips at the top, you can't possibly overstuff it, because all that will happen is that suddenly you can't zip it up anymore, and you'll break the zipper. The great thing about something like this, which has 2 long straps, is that you can keep on stuffing it, and so long as you can still get the straps through the buckles, it will still close. The other great thing about this kind of a closure is that there's the miracle, of course, when you're walking around the city all day, of dressing in layers. So I might have this like hooded sweatshirt or a jacket on in the morning, but then by noon it gets too warm that I need it, and you can just sort of like flop it over on the top of your bag, and then flop this on top of it, and then close it shut, and we'll just keep that stuff nice and closed. The other thing I like about this bag design is that it has nothing on the inside. There's no like it's not filled with like pouches and organizers, because those are never the right size for the things that you want. They just aren't. And so as a result, you wind up with this flat pouch that was maybe the right size for a cell phone when this was designed in like 2005, but now it very much is not appropriately sized for a cell phone. Instead, it has what I prefer is just to have like little cloth bags that I use to organize inside. It also has these 2 just 2 like really big pouches on the outside for quick access that have, in this case, I optimistically put, here's my my phone charger, a couple cables. What's over here? Yeah, and also that's what I'm talking about. I usually have like little ditty bags like this that have like storage of like things that need to be organized. So it's not cheap. It's $350. The only thing that, but it is a kind of a buy it for life sort of item. You're going to paste in the link right now. The Filson company will do like lifetime repairs on it, and it's a design that's been around for decades and decades and decades, and people keep saying really, really nice things about it. Now, one small story about this bag, however, that the price on the website filson.com is $350, and if you look for it on Amazon, you can find it any day of the week for $250 from multiple sellers, all of which there's something shifty about them. And I was so befuddled because $100 is $100, but there's got to be a reason why it's $250 and not $350. I was wondering, do they have like a source for these things, or they occasionally go on clearance and they just go to the factory store and they just like scoop them up? And I've seen people review them on these bags on YouTube where they say, "Oh, and I paid $250 for it. I ordered it from Amazon. Here's a link, and as you can see, it has the Filson tags and blah blah blah." It doesn't look like counterfeit, but it has to be counterfeit. There's just no other explanation for it, because I made the decision to buy this bag in October of 2019 when I was taking a walk through New York City, and I stopped by the Filson store, and I remembered this bag that I've been seeing from time to time, and I made the mistake of giving it a test fitting. I just took like my whatever daily carry bag that I had at the time, and this is for like a day of walking around New York City, including probably a meeting or a briefing, 2 hours or 3 hours of working and killing time, and then like at 7:30 going to the theater or something. So we're talking about like everything I need to have handy for a day, and it all fit just so perfectly inside this bag, and it just felt so nice and it looked so nice. And I got to say that I felt like Ford Prefect with this slung over my shoulder. And so I made the decision in October of 2019 that, okay, we're not going to impulse buy. This is way too expensive for an impulse buy. Instead, we're going to think about this, son, as a responsible adult should. And in the meantime, I kept an eye on the prices. And this is the one thing that Filson sells that never gets discounted one penny. Because I signed up for the mailing list, and so I'd get, every time there's like some sort of a sale, I'd get like an email and everything on sale. But the only exception would always be this model of field bag. So as a result, that's the only possible answer of how these other sellers on Amazon were able to sell these for $250. They have to be counterfeit. And usually, now I'm not necessarily committed to, like, if there's like a $3,000 like backpack and $2,600 of that price is the name brand and like the marketing to keep that name brand exclusive and unique, I'm not above buying a knockoff, so long as it's clearly a knockoff and not sold as a genuine thing. But the problem with that thing is that they'll find some ways to like cheap out on it. And one of the ways they could probably cheap out is that, now look at this, it comes with, this is the genuine one, beautiful like saddle leather, bridle leather, shoulder strap, but these are like genuine brass like hooks and fittings, and it feels like if I decided to save the $100 knowing that this is probably a counterfeit, I would probably enjoy it, and then right in the middle of like a trip to New York, the fitting would break because it's not brass, it's some sort of a white metal. And so I don't love spending $100 that if I don't necessarily have to, but in this case I thought, okay, I kind of have to here. So as I say, I'm looking forward to many things once we can travel freely above the great white world, and one of the things I'm looking forward to is, again, wearing this in true anger. To tell you how pathetic I am, I do live in sort of a touristy, like 350-year-old seaside village, and so there's no shortages of like coffee shops and such. And so walking, I kid you not, like 50 yards, maybe even 30 yards outside my house, at some point I got so thirsty, I believe the kids say, to just like wear this and use this, that I actually filled it with like my laptop and a book and all kinds of things I didn't need, just so I can go out and like get a breakfast sandwich and eat it like on a table on the sidewalk, because I just wanted to fill this up and carry it and feel the weight on my shoulder. So next, you might have heard that because there's a device. This bag is filled with some of my other picks. One of them just made a noise because I think I must have woken it up from sleep and it went back up. The JBL Go 2 waterproof ultra portable Bluetooth speaker. Where is this? Last night I was trying to figure out whether I was being clever and putting everything inside the bag so I could pull them out theatrically and dramatically, or whether I was just wasting time. But oh well. Now this was kind of an impulse buy item. I got this is a tiny little Bluetooth speaker, obviously, and I think I bought it on the delayed Amazon Prime Day in October. Because it was normally list price 40, I think it was down to like 20, and for a little while there, I had decided that it was a good. I think that I could find use in my life for a little compact Bluetooth speaker again, and because again, at some point I'm going to be traveling again, and it will be nice to be able to, when I'm in my hotel room or if I'm in someone's guest room, I can just like use this as an external speaker for whatever it is I'm listening to. Again, imagining that there's a time where I'm not limited to traveling, limited to keeping within 2 miles of my house for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. Sorry. So I decided to take a flutter on it, and boy, I'm really surprised by how much I'm using this. Now, I have a really nice stereo system for certain definitions of the word really nice. Again, freelance journalist, so adjust your expectations accordingly. But again, for what I consider a nice stereo system, I've got in the bedroom, I've got two Google Home Max speakers that are really nice and really loud. Here in the office, I've got another set of speakers that are really loud. But what I've discovered, particularly like late at night, is that I don't necessarily need loudspeakers at the other side of the room that are filling the room with music. I just need like something that is like 2 or 3 feet away that is a decent enough speaker, but because it is so close to my face, the clarity and just to be able to enjoy to enjoy the podcast or enjoy the TV show or whatever video I'm streaming, it is really, really nice. And so obviously Bluetooth sounds very, very good for what it is. You wouldn't imagine that it's such a small speaker and it's about the size of a bar of soap, really. Fortunately, it lives in the 2020s. It uses, does it? I might be wrong. I'm sorry. I'm correcting myself. I'm thinking about something else. I don't believe it uses USB-C. I think it is actually using micro USB, bastard. But it is waterproof, water resistant, it's nicely sealed, so don't worry about splashes. The battery is not ever eternal gob-stopping. It's about 6-7 hours, but that's good enough. Pairs easily. It's like a nice metal body. It's not cheap at all. And like I said, it's very, very pleasantly surprising when there's something that you bought kind of as a flutter, and it does turn out to be something that I use and something that I actually like. Now, the other Bluetooth thing, and if you want to know the answer to the question, yes, I am regretting, as theatrical as it is to be fishing through this to get things, particularly if, as is possible, I actually forgot to put it in there. Oh, no, it's over. I was actually using them. Okay, I will not get myself out of I will have to create the theater of the air here. Now, another thing, based on that same idea of, I don't necessarily want to have speakers filling the entire room. I just want to be able to hear the movies that I'm watching in really nice fidelity, and not have to like turn up the volume because there's some sort of someone is mumbling on the back of the soundtrack. So I picked up what I was looking for was wrong. Sorry, that was the wrong link. So I was looking for a pair of like over-the-ear Bluetooth headphones, but I didn't want to spend $550 for Apple AirPods, nor did I even want to spend $350 for like Sony or Bose noise canceling headphones. I just wanted something that was decent quality that I could just keep on the sofa, keep hanging around. And these really fit the bill very nice. The Anker Soundcore Life Q10 wireless Bluetooth headphones. They're about $30. But they sound really, really good. I'm sure they wouldn't stand up head to head with a $300 pair of headphones. They're certainly not computational sound by any means, but they're really, really very good. Whether mostly I'm listening to video, I'm watching videos with these things on, but it does mean that, especially if I'm watching videos at like 11 midnight, 1, 2, I don't have to crank up the sound and like annoy the neighbors, when really all I'm trying to do is follow 3 very, 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 very like regional British accents. There's that where they're being authentic. I can't solve the problem where I don't understand the accent and I'm trying to process through the mumbling. What I can do is make sure that I can at least hear them like a UN translator can. Only $30, and I was so pleased with them that I actually bought a second pair for the bedroom, so I won't have to like keep like traveling from the bedroom into the living room to fetch the headphones or whatever. Those do charge via USB-C, so you don't need an extra adapter for that. And the batteries last. Boy, is it really! It's a power miser. It's like it's so much, it passes that bar of battery life where I can't even tell you how long the battery lasts, because I will never be able to remember the last time that I recharged them. So love them all. They're exactly what I want them to be. They're 30. It's very typical of an Anker product that they are usually I think that their meat is really for I don't want to go nuts on the price, but I want quality and I want good customer service. So no, they're not going to win the head-to-head battle for best headphones, but they're going to be damn nice. They're good enough for almost everybody, and cheap enough that almost everybody can afford it. And technology is supposed to be accessible and affordable. Now, this next thing on my favorite things or favorite material acquisitions is something that I absolutely can't show you on camera because I'm using it right now. Of course, it's the MacBook Pro, the Apple Silicon Edition. I talked all about this last time I streamed a couple of weeks ago, so I won't go too far into it. But yeah, I'm still very, very happy with it. I'm really, really impressed by how free of drama this huge transition that Apple pulled off was, because I'm an old man, so I was around for the transition away from Motorola. I was there for the transition away from PowerPC. Both of those were handled as well as Apple possibly could, but they were going to be a big pain in the butt. And each time there was a low fence demarcating the difference between this person is running an Intel Mac or this person is running like a G4 PowerPC Mac. Because if you've got old software, so it's got to be running really, really slow on Rosetta on the Intel, but at least it runs. And we know that that's not going to be a permanent solution, because at some point everybody's going to update all their software to this new stuff, blah blah blah. So there was drama involved. I was really shocked there was such little drama involved in this transition. Honestly, there's nothing about this MacBook Pro that I've had no hassles that I would not have expected from simply upgrading from one major full integer version of macOS to the next full integer version of macOS. That's how easy it has been. Nothing but upside. Even when it is running Rosetta, it's running as fast or even a little bit faster in some cases than its actual native Intel equivalent. As I said a couple weeks ago, I was okay with the fact that this MacBook only has two Thunderbolt ports. I'm sure that when they release the first wave of like really pro MacBook Pros next year, you will get at least 4. It would be a bummer, but this was my expectation. I was buying it not so much as a MacBook Pro, as a desktop replacement, so much as a super MacBook Air. So when I travel, I'll have a good screen, I'll have a good keyboard, and I'll have really good battery life. So very, 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 very happy with that. Now, the next thing is something was one of my earliest. Okay, this is this is another thing on that list of I should buy this with some of my Amazon credits because I spend so much time outside and on commuter rail and on buses and walking around and on my bike. It's time for me to have a digital media player since I'm spending so much time outside the house. Yeah, that worked out okay. But yeah, I'm very that's another thing that I'm quite happy with. This is the Sony Walkman A55 NWA 55/L. Sony, come up with really cool names for your products. Don't just call them like by numbers. And it is a Sony Walkman. And now you might be asking yourself, well, Andy, you silly goose, don't you realize that you can stream music files, stream music on your telephone? And I say, yes, I'm aware of that, and that's exactly why I actually wanted to see what it was like to go back to having like a dedicated digital music player. And because for one thing, I obviously with a phone, I can't carry my entire music library with me at once. With this, it has a puny like 16 gigabytes of storage built in, but it also has a micro SD card slot. I've got a 256 gig card in there right now, which is more than double what I need to have every single piece of music that I've ever purchased since I was a kid. Including all the CDs that I've ripped since then, and ripped and replaced. And so, but you're still asking, well, why don't you just use Spotify? I don't like Spotify. Might be a topic for a future video or future whatever. I believe that when I like a piece of music or a piece of video enough that I want to have access to it forever, I'm not going to watch it or listen to it through Spotify. I want to own the CD. I want to rip it and put it onto my media server so that I can control what I do with it. I certainly can't. If I have a favorite album on Spotify, I can't like get this little portable music player and copy it into that because it doesn't have a Spotify app version with it. They do actually make this doesn't even run an operating system. It's what I like about it is that it is just a music player, and that's one of the things that kind of attracted me to it. You open it up, and it's just the thing that you were playing and big fat buttons. Not only that, but there are of course actual physical clicky buttons on the side of it. So as I'm walking along, I take my daily constitutional, I don't have to remember, okay, on this earbud, it's double click and then hold to go back, or is it, well, no, with this one, there's a forward button, there's a back button, there's a volume button, there's a play and pause button, and they have like little nubs on them so you can actually feel your way around them. That's all you need. And the fact that this doesn't run a real operating system, it doesn't even run Android, means that the battery lasts, again, something about 10 hours short of the wait for the second coming of Jesus Christ, because when it's in sleep mode, it's not trying to send your location data anywhere. It is just consuming no power whatsoever. And that brings up another reason why I was interested in this thing. I'm getting a little bit more paranoid about privacy. And I like the idea that if I'm in a situation where, like, if I'm walking through, oftentimes I'm walking like through Boston, and there's some sort of a thing going on at the Common, and something about the total lack of privacy laws makes me want to say I'm going to switch my phone completely off so that my radios aren't going to like give away my location, and people won't like start marketing the special snow tires for people who were lobbying for marijuana legalization. I like the idea that this is just a music player. I can enjoy my media, and it's not going to rat me out on anything. I also like the fact that my playlists for here are just canonical playlists for everywhere. Love it, love it, love it. $220. If you spend like $100, $200 more, you can actually get a version of this that is not dissimilar. It's more like a iPod Touch in that it runs Android. It's like a phone without the phone radios, but that will allow you to run the Apple Music app. It'll let you run the Spotify app, whatever you want. But it comes with all the disadvantages where now your music player is an app on this device you have to launch, and so yeah, this was one of those purchases that really paid off. I joked before about how before my idea was that, I'm going to use, when I'm riding a commuter rail for a half hour, 45 minutes every time I'm going into town, I'll be enjoying listening to music on this. Okay, yes, but it's also a big enjoyment when I'm on my regular constitutionals. Let's see, the other modern technology thing that is part of my favorite stuff of 2020 is the Google Pixel 4a. Boy, this is this is the sort of stuff that that really, really impresses me. And I've got a notification here that I don't want you to see, so I'm not going to. There you go. So yeah, This is the sort of technology that really gets me happy. This is a $350 phone that will do 80 to 85% of what any phone that costs less than $900 will do. It's the same camera system as they have on their mainline phone for the Google Pixel. It doesn't have the super wide angle, but the pictures that we'll take with this normal lens are damn near, if not completely identical to what you would get on the $600, $700 phone. It will even give like a modern iPhone, again, assuming you're not using the telephoto or the super wide angle, a run for its money, because this only has one lens to it. It's super fast. I have never had a problem with speed. The screen is beautiful. The speakers are actually very nice. It has every feature that you would want. It comes with 128 gigs of storage. That's just like the base. It does at $350. You don't get to choose, the 256 or 512. It's just 128. But for me, that happens to be the perfect amount of storage. And it just blows my mind that you can get something of this quality for just $350. Now, it's weird because I have actually had money set. My phone previous to this was a Pixel 1, which they stopped selling a couple of years ago, and this year formally they stopped producing any sort of updates for it whatsoever. And by the year that the Pixel 3 came out, I was thinking, well, I got $1,000 set aside to buy like a real phone. I bought the Pixel 1 as a remodeled reconditioned model for super cheap. I said, oh, it'll tide me over too. And then I decided I didn't really like the Pixel 3. It wasn't as big an upgrade as I wanted. Pixel 4, which I liked, but it had some squirrely things about it. And then when it came time for the Pixel 5 and the iPhone 12, I felt like with the transition to 5G coming, it was a good year to say, well, what if I just were to absolutely cheap out? I'm going to spend this year using the cheapest phone that I can possibly buy, see how well that works out, so that the year after that, in 2021 or maybe even 2022, I will be able to buy a phone that has a second or third generation 5G chipset, and I will understand what I miss about high-end phones to understand exactly what I want to get. But again, I can't tell you anything that I've really missed about this. Even the fact that it has doesn't have like face recognition opening, a face unlock. This is actually a positive thing, because by the time it came out, we were in mask mode. And believe you me, I had come to understand, testing out the iPhone 11, how much of a bummer it is to have to like deal with all that stuff when not only are you wearing a mask, but in the first month of the pandemic, I'm also wearing rubber gloves. All strength to Google. They've got some problems with the Pixels. The Pixel 5 is kind of a rebuilding year, if you follow my meaning. The Pixel 6 might be more interesting than the Pixel 5 is, but this was a really good gap phone, so to speak, and very happy with it. Now, next category are collectibles. Things that I can't really, again, they're not necessarily new. There's not going to be a really good Amazon link to them, but there are things that I kind of acquired for stuff that I think that I would just enjoy having around. It's a collectible, and one of them is the Sony Walkman Pro. This is the best Walkman that Sony ever made. It was not. It's a chonky boy. If you're thinking about it as a cassette player, as a Walkman. Remember that this was the time at the height of their development. Sony was making Walkmans that were smaller than a cassette case. Even this was actually designed to be a replacement for if you were like a radio interviewer or a reporter who works for the radio. This would be like the stereo noise metal tape Dolby B and C recording deck that you would use to record interviews and live events on, and they would actually put these cassettes like right on the radio. Now I've been enamored by this. I actually want to get the big mama one that they made, the DC 5M, I think. Again, a very cool piece of design, very cool piece of technological history, because it's just Sony was making these tanks for reporters to carry around and use. Unfortunately, they have become collectible, and you can't touch them for anything less than $500 or $600. The Sony Walkman Pro, again, you can't on eBay. You can't touch this for less than 400. They typically go for 500 or 600. I didn't spend that much for this. I was just lucky enough that to get in touch with to have a, I think it was a reader or a listener who is a current. He was a sound engineer working in films, and he had like he had a couple of these just in his closet as just old technology that he had no use for, and asked me, "Hey, if I got a couple of them, if you want me, if you want to give them a whirl." And it was like, great. How much you want for them? We negotiated a price, and it wasn't so much negotiating a price as like if I'd given him a coupon for like half of a 6-pack of beer, because he wasn't interested in the money. He was just pleased that someone who would enjoy this was going to use it. But I certainly wanted to at least let him take him and his partner out for a nice meal based on it, because it's super fun. I'm not. Listen, let me explain that I absolutely do not understand why some of the youths of America are like really, really interested in cassette anymore, because as soon as I started playing with this for real, of course, it's hard to forget that tapes are just so inconvenient. I mean, they're cool. I love how tactile these things are, particularly when when they eject like that and they bounce on the floor. It's kind of cool when you chonk in a cassette and you press a mechanical button and it plays, and then there's lights that are coming up and bouncing all around on this, and then at the end there's some silence, and then you hear like some stress on the motor, and then click because it clicks off. That's cool. And so I have like half a dozen cassettes. Some of them I just had from the old times. I bought a couple to sort of fill out the collection, and I listen to them from time to time. But I don't understand anybody. I don't understand if there's a resurgence of this like there was for vinyl, where there are people who can say, okay, first of all, I want you to understand and repeat after me that digital is sandpaper for the elegance and the abstracticity of the musical terpsichorean, because the only music that I can stand to listen to are ones that have never, ever, ever been been subjected to digital processing. And for that, I'm talking about vinyl, 28.2 gram, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Maybe you can hear a difference. I'm not going to argue with that. The thing is, though, that cassettes, they don't sound better. They're not more convenient. They break down. They're mechanical as hell. They need attention. Again, they're fun as a bit of and from my point of view, I love the history that this represents. That again, this is what, if I had been born like 15 or 20 years earlier, this would have been part of my daily kit. Because if I go to like a trade show or something, or I'm going to like an interview or something, this would be out. And I'd have 2 microphones on little stands on the table between us. And it's just a very, very satisfying object. So I'm very, very pleased to have added that to my collection. As yes, exactly. And as IINA says, nothing like media that degrades with every use. It really is like the Seinfeld episode where Elaine has a limited amount of her favorite contraceptive. And they're not making them anymore. So every time she has sex, she has to decide: is this going to be worth using up one of the limited number of plays I have left? And same thing with like old cassettes. Now, the next collectible that is one of my favorite things I acquired in 2020 is very, very different. This is another thing that's to me is a very, very interesting part of history, but also very, very cautionary tale in history. This is the famous make sure I'm selecting and copying pasting here for you, the famous one laptop per child computer. And this was part of an initiative when a whole bunch of philanthropists and like visionaries got it up their butts that, oh, well, the solution to education worldwide is for every child in the world to be able to have their own laptop. And so how can we build a laptop that costs only $100 per child, and we can get one for everybody? And this is I think the second or third generation design that they came up with. And it's pretty cool. As you can see, it's a very, very attractive sort of thing to sort of carry around, kind of like a lunch pail. You open it up, and I haven't opened this up in a while, so bear with me. Why, so simple, even a child could do this. Run out and get me a child. I can't make head or tail out of it. Okay, I have to undo these latches. I'm technologically inclined, as you can see. Dagnabbit, how do you put this? Ah, there you go. So yeah, see, it's a cute little laptop. These little things are actually like mesh networking antennas, so they can either connect via Wi-Fi to a base station, or they can connect to other OLPCs. You can also has a trackpad, has a little chiclet keyboard. You can also twirl the screen around and kind of use it as a tablet with a touch screen. It ran an open source OS that you can still actually download and install on any kind of computer. Still has like the the Nintendo gamepad sort of things on it. Uh, and it was a very a lot of cool ideas went along here. I mean, one of the little attention to detail sort of things. Yeah, see, it's also covering up like USB ports and like audio ports over here. Again, it's a very lovely as a static object. Nice little details where like this is the logo, but all of them were like different like I don't know, like 100 different colors could be like the head or the body, so that if you had like 20 kids in a classroom, they'd all have like their own unique sort of color combinations to identify it as their own. And again, as a piece of design, as a piece of history, very interesting. But it's also the cautionary tale part of it is that it has the kind of like visionary the elements that are common to almost every like wealthy tech visionary who is way removed from like the sullen earth that we mortals tread, because there's I live on Olympus. I'm too important up here, while professing what the future is going to be and improving the world for everybody just a tiny little bit. No, thank you for your suggestion, but I did look into the idea of improving the world by making sure that the people who work for me are paid an honest and decent and fair wage and aren't replaced by automation at the drop of a hat. Doesn't really work. Yeah, see, but what they fail to really get at is that the thing is, you can't just simply say, "Oh, we're gonna have a $99 laptop. We're gonna give a laptop to every child," because as Jimmy Carter, a man who knows something about hands-on, boots on the ground, solving problems around the world, the first thing you do as an organization is that you talk to the community, the community that you're trying to help itself, and ask them, what are your problems? What do you want help with? Because they know what their actual problems are and they know how to help it. And so congratulations, we've got all these like one laptop per child. The fact that we have no roads so that kids cannot get from where they are to a central schoolroom, I suppose that's immaterial, isn't it? Oh well. Oh, this is, you can tell this is a later model. They had a demo model when they first showed off this concept. One of the ideas they had was that there's going to be a hand crank on the side of it, and so that you don't even need to charge it by plugging it into an outlet or plugging into a solar. It'll just charge by just cranking it up like a evil Knievel stunt cycle or something like that. So yeah, it's still very much a cautionary tale. It's the inclination to help is always good. It's all that's sort of keeping this whole social experiment of humanity alive. However, you don't start with the arrogance of, I have a solution for you. All you have to do is change who you are so that your problem is modified to become a problem that can be solved by the solution I'm giving you. You're welcome. You don't, that's arrogance. That's, you want to be the savior coming in from up on high, as opposed to the preacher who simply walks in on foot and asks who's who's sick and would appreciate if someone went out and did their shopping for them. That's the sort of thing that that visionaries need to get into. The last thing on the collectibles bent is kind of weird. I've been doing a lot of I when I say that I'm an art collector, I don't mean that I spend tens of thousands or millions of dollars on dodgy, could be a Da Vinci, could be School of Da Vinci. All I know is that one of my rich friends might bid 4.1 billion if I don't come in with 4.5 billion, and I can't have that. But I do enjoy like art, especially with my favorite illustrators. And the cool thing about social media is that, of course, a lot of my favorite artists, they're just like on Instagram, and sometimes they will just draw stuff and say, "Oh, I was just doodling and I just drew this. Who wants it? $100 or $50 or $20." And so probably one of my favorite things is who knows who Evan Dorkin is? This is Lenore from his character Lenore from a collection of stories called The Murder Family. Yes, and it's just a beautiful like ink and marker piece. Evan Dorkin has been one of my favorite creators since like the 80s. And it's just so cool that I can I can watch him through Instagram and pick up like a piece of art like this. It just makes me so very, very happy I'm waiting for to find the right frame to put it in. Actually, I've been using this for this little envelope for a couple of things. What else is there? He gave me, there you go, this comic dork. That is a really, really good. That's some prints here. That's a really, really funny book that you should really, really get into. Yeah, this is my friend. My friend Danielle Corsetto, who's also one of my favorite creators. She's been doing a whole bunch of watercolors of her neighborhood to prepare for her latest graphic novel, Elephant Town. So I decided that I needed this for my house. Actually, at the same time, there was at the same time she was doing. I think this was Inktober last year, where she was doing all kinds of just a little pop culture people. And so I bought her drawing of Bjork. uh, and it is fun. Like I don't like the way that these things usually go on sale is that they say, oh, I'm going to have like these sketches, or I'll do an Instagram post of like thumbnails of all these and saying that, oh, I'll have these in my Etsy store starting at 1 p.m. on such and such a date. And if you get there super, super fast, you can kind of take your pick. I don't mind that. What I do mind is like the Mondo posters sort of thing, where there's where it's like they'll say, "Oh, we'll tweet out. We've got this great new Star Wars poster, and we're going to tweet out the link to the purchasing page at 1 p.m. sharp on Tuesday." And so there I am refreshing the page, like I'm starting at like 12:45 p.m. with like all my credit card stuff like all ready to go because I want to get a good shot at one of these posters. And then before the 1 p.m. tweet saying, "Here's the link for the page to purchase from," 12:55 there's a tweet saying, "We've sold out completely. Sorry." Like, oh, wait, but that's 5 minutes before 1 p.m. That should not have happened, or am I confused about something? And I'm expecting there to be a follow up of, okay, it looks like somebody got access to the site and don't worry, we've canceled all those fraudulent orders. Nope, they were fine. And I had that sort of moment of clarity, which is like, all I want to do, Mondo, is give you money for a product that you're selling. There should not I should have to I'm perfectly fine with giving you $75, but how much of my dignity do I have to give you as well? And so I really just like washed my hands of that completely. Like the same reason why I mean, if I were interested in an Xbox or a PlayStation, it'd be like, I'll wait till February or March. I'm not camping out anywhere. I'm not going to bribe anybody. But yeah, so I'm really, really happy with that. I'm getting better at making sure that my pieces of art that I really like are not in flat acid-free boxes on a shelf, but actually are in nice frames on my wall, making progress a little bit as we go. Let's see. Now I think we're into the one more. I don't read as many books as I would like, but one book that I really, really loved this year was this one from Dr. Safiya Noble, Algorithms of Oppression, How Search Engines Reinforce Racism. This is it's an amazing, amazing book. She's been doing lots and lots of work on, I'm going to paste in the link here for you. Here we go. There are a lot of things that a lot of people, myself included, don't really understand about the leverage that some of our digital tools have in perpetuating racism and sexism and lots of other isms that we would much rather be free of. And it takes researchers like her to really point these things out to us. We all have heard about things like about how algorithms of facial recognition, they don't understand because their developers were mostly white engineers who trained it with lots of white faces. It's really good at discerning white faces, terrible at white male faces, really terrible at discerning non-white faces, particularly female faces. And that's why we need to have laws aggressively prohibiting law enforcement from using facial recognition technology, because otherwise someone gets a security camera image and oh look, because they've subcontracted the job out to a company that matches photos to social media posts. Says, there's your man right there, and this person has a warrant out for his arrest and gets arrested because of a very, very dodgy algorithm that never had to demonstrate that it was very, very good at discerning faces in the first place. But also things like how many times have you played the game on Google where you open up the search page and start typing words to see what gets auto-completed? And so when she was doing her research for this book, the autocomplete for stuff like black women, and the autocompletes done by Google's algorithms were all about like porn and all about you know, terrible trouble things, because all it was doing was blithely indexing pages that it was encountering and looking for phrases and text that keeps coming up over and over again without any thought to, well, that means that this is very, very little different from TV and the movies, where the only time you see a non-white person is when they're waiters and when they're parking lot attendants and stuff like that. If search is biased towards steering you towards search results about non-white people that are dismissive and servile and don't reflect the I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a rant, but it was a very, very good book. There are a bunch of books like this. I kind of that might be another good topic for a future column or future video or whatever. But I recommend that book highly. It's really, really quite wonderful. I'm going to recommend the HBO Max streaming channel because I've been watching that a lot more than I thought I would. What I want from a streaming channel is a good deep bench and a good churn of content. So I'm looking for something that's like Netflix, Disney Plus. It's nice. Apple TV Plus, it's nice, but it's for with Disney Plus, I was able to despite the fact that it owns so much content, I was able to within like an hour or two go through every single category, wish list everything I wanted to see, and most of the stuff I wanted to see, I didn't have to see, but was better than the stuff I didn't care about at all. So Disney was absolutely not worth my money. HBO Max, because they've been around for decades and decades and decades producing their own material, very, very deep bench. They get some really, really good movies. They're producing some really good live documentaries. That one, okay, congratulations, HBO. You sucked me back in to actually paying for HBO. As long as I don't have to like buy, if I can just buy HBO Max by itself without having to buy like the $800 additional, Yugoslavian versus Latvia football matches package. TV shows. I'm going to, again, I've kind of I had a longer list, but in terms of things to actually talk to you about, you might not be surprised that one of my favorite things I saw on TV or streaming video this year was Joyce DiDonato's Met Stars Live in Concert. It's not, unfortunately, it's not available. What they've been doing since they had to cancel the entire 2020-2021 season. And so to maintain a presence in the arts community and also make some money, they were making live streams, performances, and experiences with some of the greatest stars of opera. Joyce DiDonato, I can't recommend her highly enough. There are a lot of performers in opera who are just gorgeous singers and tremendous artists. She's special because not only does she have all that, but every time she puts on a program, every time she puts on a recital program, she comes up with such an interesting collection of music and such an interesting experience as you're watching it. And if you can find that, some clips from this show are available online and on YouTube and from the Met. I'm hoping, really, really hoping that the Met finds a way to make this stream available like sometime later on. If they ever do, boy, are you going to see it hear from me about it on the Twitter stream. This is also why I have the Downey app. I can't. I'm actually going to find the link to it because you need to have it. I was I had a very very strict rule forming this list that it couldn't be just things I liked right now. It had to be things that I acquired just this year. And of course, I had Downey. This is a beautiful, beautiful app that will just download whatever wherever the actual video file that a streaming video is streaming from. It'll find it and download it for you. It's sort of like a VCR. When you want to tape something, I just want to have this on video cassette so that if this only airs once, I can still see it again. And so, yes, I don't feel guilty about using Downey to capture the stream from Joyce DiDonato's concert, because honestly, I just keep coming back to it like every couple 3 weeks. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful piece of music, such a beautiful program. Now, other apps, these are going to be a little bit quicker, so we'll be getting into the Q&A pretty soon. Now, on Android, I've been one of my favorite discoveries is an app called Ruff. Ruff. All it is it's one of the most important tools for any sort of computer, whether it's a pocket computer or a desktop computer for me, is I just want an empty text window that I can type text into. I'm not even talking about a word processor. I mean that I'm going to be, I'm on the phone with somebody and someone's about to give me an account number or is about to like give me directions or like, here's the apartment number or whatever. I just need to write something down. I don't have a pen and I don't have paper handy. And so you want the cleanest experience possible. Ruff is an app for Android that is exactly it. It's just like 6 or 7 pages of notepaper and that's it. And so you just type it, it stays there, it works. Now there's a companion sort of app called Tot or Tote. Tot. Well, has a great URL, tot.rocks, which has been one of the biggest hits that I've downloaded and installed for the Mac. It's kind of this. It's made by Icon Factory, so it's a gorgeous looking app. All it is you have this dot in your menu bar that represents Tot. You click on it. It opens up the Tot window. You've just got like I think 7 pages, 8 pages, each with a different like dot color on it. Each one is a different page. And again, you don't get to it doesn't ask you to hashtag something. It doesn't ask you to offer you to schedule this as a reminder for something else. It doesn't offer integration into your contacts manager. All it is sheets of paper into which you can type things, and it will keep those things safe. It will also save them and sync them across devices via iCloud. The Mac version of it is free. The iOS version I think is like $20, but it's in that category of things I like so much that I would very much. I just kind of want to. I just kind of want to like put money in a box and send it to the people who make this because it's so good. Now I mentioned earlier about how I like to own my own media, and so I've been using for the Mac as my CD ripper an app called XLD. And it does it's there. There's another app called Winamp that a lot of people use because it's cross-platform. To me, it's too open source. It looks like a 1990s 2002 open source app. The user interface is just absolutely bananas. I'm sure it's super powerful, but I don't need to adjust all these parameters to the ripping into the encoding. All I want to do is take this. All I want to do is take this. What do I got here? Let's see. I got some Talking Heads. I got some Rage Against the Machine. I just want to put this disc in. I want to get a FLAC file out, and I want it to have album art. I want to have the right track lists and that sort of stuff. And this is simple. It's free. It's effective. And if you ask me, how come you're not using like the built-in ripper in macOS? I haven't. I was started using this before I upgraded to the most modern Mac operating system. Remember that my previous machines were from 2015 and 2012, so I've decided to be 1 or 2 releases of macOS behind the curve. Both of these are both of these are working at both of these are stripping to ALAC instead of FLAC, and so those aren't complementary to each other. Let's see. The only other stuff I have, another cool Mac app that I've really, really come to enjoy is IINA, IINA. This is a really, really streamlined but powerful media player. VLC will always be the staple of media players for the desktop. The cool thing about IINA is that it really is just for watching videos and listening to music. Very, very clean, very, very Mac looking app. It doesn't look like it was ported from, again, some distro of Unix that only three philosophers have ever been able to install and actually run. But that's really it. So those are the favorite things I put on the list. And I've managed to be talking for about an hour about them. So sorry about that if that was been too long and too boring. So I'm going to start taking questions. If you've got questions, fire them into the chat. I do have some questions that were put into the chat last night during our abortive attempt at streaming last night. I haven't figured out exactly what was going on, but I did happen to mention on Twitter that I thought that app was kind of a dumpster fire, or at least my experience was. And of course, I got a DM from one of the people who are on the team saying, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened. Let's chat about this." I hope I was very, very clear on Twitter that this is not, I'm not judging the entire app, just this one experience. Nonetheless, this was, I think, an experience that a lot of people could have had, and so I'm very, very surprised that I couldn't just simply switch it off. Blah blah blah. We'll figure that out, and we'll do that later. But let's see. Question for tomorrow from Will Dean. Was there any gadget that you thought about getting in 2020 but opted against because of not traveling or commuting? No, because unfortunately, I already bought both of those things. The only thing that's kind of relevant to that is that there were at least three like major-ish purchases that had to be put on hold kind of indefinitely, because my mattress is about 10 years old and it works. It functions. I can sleep on it without like being in pieces afterward. However, it is 10 years old and things are like sort of broken down in it. So there's like a nice divot, a little bit of a divot there. I can tell because whenever I knock over a Diet Dr. Pepper, it makes a nice little puddle in the middle of the water trap there. So it was time for me to buy a new mattress. Can't really do that until until I can go to a furniture store again. I was also planning on buying a new sofa. That one was like 15 years old. I was trying to figure out whether I want to buy a new sofa or have the old one, which is a very nice like crate and barrel sectional, still in great shape. It's just that the fabric is just looks like it's been in a bachelor's living room for about 15 or 20 years. And so I'm trying to decide whether to replace it or just get it reupholstered. That's another thing that I can't really do. But the other thing was that, so I bought this Maria Callas Think Different poster, like a 24 by 36, when Apple was doing those, the Think Different campaign. It had those like art quality posters. And I didn't want to just like buy like buy like a plastic poster holder from like a mall like the Limited store or whatever. I wanted to actually get it nicely framed so that it would look very, very nice. And unfortunately, I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, meaning to do it like week after week after week, because I have to take it into a nice framing store that's in the city. And so I haven't done that yet. I reiterate, I truly have not been more than 2 or 3 miles away from my house since March. I went to New York City in February, mid-February, to see some shows and hang out with some friends. I think the last picture in my camera roll of me like on a commuter train was like March 6th. So it would be somewhere around March 6th the last time I was more than 2 miles away from my house. My feeling is that because I have the ability to self-quarantine and self-isolate as aggressively as I can, I should do that and thus decrease the surplus population of COVID patients at risk. But I am looking forward to being able to go out and gambol and to get I wish I'd gotten that poster framed because it's a nice poster and I wish it were on my wall instead of still in the same tube I bought it from eBay. Let's see. Question for tomorrow was, already got that. Lauren Willoughby. Andy, do you think we'll see 5G hotspot devices coming in 2021? Yep, absolutely. It's part of carrier strategy to make sure that they can sell you various kinds of carved up 5G services. 2020 was never going to be the year in which you kind of had to have 5G even in your phone. This is another reason why I decided to go for even when I knew that Google was coming out with a 5G version of the 4A for not terribly much more expensive. The 4A was 350. The version, pretty much the identical phone with a 5G radio, was $499. But the thing is, you're getting like first generation Qualcomm chips, and there's like it's a chipset, whereas the next generation is going to be all in one component, so it's going to be a lot less power, a lot less surface area, much better in every way, shape, or form. And frankly, 5G is going to shake itself out into something more recognizable over the next couple of years. So I think 2020 is a fine year to decide to like wait another year before replacing your phone, or in my case, cheaping out on it. It's not until it's not just a question of, are the 5G devices going to be any good? It's also going to be, are you going to be getting 5G service that's much better than simply 4G LTE? Because there are a couple of different kinds of 5G service. If I'm in the middle of Boston and I'm near a micro tower, micro transmitter for 5G, oh my god, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be almost as good as what I can get inside my office. If I'm not in that really densely saturated 5G antenna neighborhood, it's going to be pretty much like having good 4G LTE. So don't worry about it. Danton Mengdi, what is your favorite design language of all time? Can apply to appliances, devices, computers, etc. Was there ever something that just stopped you in your tracks and make you need to hold or touch it? Joke, 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 joke. Joke is red, and now we proceed onward. Yeah, a lot of Bang & Olufsen stuff is like that. But really, I mean, a lot of this stuff is I love Sony design. There's something about the way that Sony used to like design consumer devices. I have been one of the different. I think we've all been dealing with isolation and quarantine and different. We've had different kinds of like weirdness manifest in different ways. For me, it's been like collecting old tape players, not to play them, but because the design is so cool. So this is a Sony micro cassette recorder, and it's just the metal case, the proportion of the buttons. It has to be functional, but also it just looks like a professional, like sort of executive thing, without being so stodgy that you don't think that it's you think that this is your grandfather's thing. Probably my favorite thing. This is the Sony. This is another portable recorder. It's the SD 150, I think. Anyway, but this is a mono like tape recorder, but it does have a button that you can switch between like music, or are you recording music, or are you recording like actual audio, or am I looking at the wrong button? Oh, there you go. That's the record. But if you could hold this in your hands, this is all metal. It's cold to the touch. It's very. This was a time. There was a time like in the 70s. I think this is late 70s, like 76, 77, 78. This would have been high class. I bought this as I bought almost all of my tape players for about my target price is about a large pizza. Given that large pizza could be gotten for $10 to $40, but if I can get it for 10 or 20, that's kind of what I want. But it's all metal. This is the sort of thing that would have been in your briefcase because you're at meetings, you need to record meetings, or you need to record depositions, or interviews and stuff like that. And this would be the sort of thing that, again, you've got your cigarette lighter, you've got your cigarette case, you've got your, I don't know, your pencil case, whatever it is. I've never been like a 70s or 80s business person, but you comfort yourself as an executive by surrounding yourself with what you deem to be beautiful things. And this would have been the sort of thing that says, oh, this guy has class. And it looks it. It's just a beautifully designed object. As far as the technology, I also love frog design. If I were wealthy enough that I could spend money on stupid things, I would probably like take this M1 MacBook Pro and just hire somebody to redesign it as though it were designed by Frog Design, like in the 1990s. It doesn't really date very much. I think that there's certain design elements that scream out the 1990s, but there's something about the square edges, the ventilation slots, the simplicity of this thing that belies beauty that I really, really dig. Let's see. Chris Kazmethi asked, Andy, what purchase was unexpectedly good in 2020? Something you bought with no real thought beyond this could be helpful or neat, but ended up being, oh my, this is really something special. Honestly, I hate to be boring, but it's probably again the box cutter. I can't. Again, there's something very, very satisfying about. Rarely in life, we've been so beaten down by marketing that do are we used. I'm not used to a company saying, "If you're Andy, I understand that you have a problem. Like we don't cut down cardboard boxes for recycling because it is such a pain in the butt to do it. Well, here is a tool for cutting through cardboard boxes with minimal effort." And I said, "Really? Yes, really. You just wanted me to give you $50 for something that might work for a little while, but I'll never use again, or it'll break down immediately, aren't you?" And no, it's worked perfectly. So this is a very, very satisfying purchase. Okay, so we're going to go to the chat for questions. Joe Hodling asks, "How's the latency on the Bluetooth headset?" That very, very good. There are times with Bluetooth where I don't know, you just there's a raven screeching bloody portents from the church steeple that causes waveforms to slow down and sort of circle around it. I don't know, where it's a little bit off, but I almost never notice it. If I need to have the sort of cinematic experience, I'd go for something else. Wilson Martinez, do you have any music public playlist? No, I don't think so, but I should. I switched from when Google Play Music shut down and became YouTube Music, and YouTube Music became an absolute crust load. It was just horrible. I switched to Spotify, so I should probably do some Spotify playlists, I think. Let's see. We came here. Oh, Chris Twiggs, we came here to hear you, so don't feel bad about talking for as long as you did. Thank you very much. Where did I learn about the powered scissors? Dennis Worcester. Honestly, sometimes there is just like you have this idea that this is such a common problem that someone must have built something to solve this problem. There must be an electronic box cutter of some kind, and lo, there was. And lo, the one that I bought worked out great. I had the same, but it doesn't always work out that way. I had the same thought about. Now I have the same problem with like 2-liter soda bottles. I like go through. It's not that I drink a lot of soda. I go through maybe 2 bottles a week, but the thing is, like, I don't necessarily clear them out of the way immediately. And so I've been looking for, I'm looking for, oh, there must be some sort of a device that will just like shred or cut up a plastic soda bottle. Couldn't find that anywhere. So I still just like crush them up by hand, but the system doesn't always work, but sometimes it does work. Copper Thumb, I don't think you ever gave a closure episode with what happened with the Anatel Almanac. I'm hoping to relaunch the Almanac. As a matter of fact, the first episode back does explain what happened to the Anatel Almanac. Most funnest entertainment. Did you buy a USB/Lightning cable hub for your new M1 Mac? Yes, it was the CalDigit. Let me just give you the link. I think I talked about this in the last live stream I did. That's the CalDigit TS3 Plus. It's working great for me so far, with one possible exception. I've been having it has a USB. Excuse me. It has an SD card connector, a card slot in the front of it, and for some reason I can't get it working. I don't know whether it's because I need a firmware update or because whatever. It's just like I've had it plugged in for too long. I need to sort of restart it or whatever. But I like it. I like it a lot. It's what the goal for this device was going to be for me, that I want to have all the ports that I would have had on this on this MacBook if it were made by any company other than Apple. So yes, I do want it. I do want a video out port. Yes, I do want normal USB. Yes, I do want an SD card slot. It's not cheap. It was $220 on sale when I bought it, but if you really do want to, I'm going to be using this M1 MacBook as my desktop replacement until Apple comes up with a really, really good desktop M1 Mac, and the current Mac Mini just doesn't cut it. And so until then, that's going to solve my problem for it. Rob Collins, you did ask a question. Where are we asking questions? Well, you're asking it here, as are we all. As you can see, that you asked your question, it was answered for it. Let's see. Should Apple go USB-C and ditch Lightning before it goes portless? Yeah, I think it's suspicious that they haven't ditched use that Lightning yet. If anything, actually, I was just thinking about this the other night, that's probably as good an indication as any, as they want to. They're hoping that they can come up with a portless phone sometime sooner rather than later, because it just makes absolutely no sense that they keep Lightning going. The moving towards USB-C for the iPad Pro was a very, very positive step forward, because it's ubiquitous now. All of our chargers, all of our cables are USB-C. It is a pain in the butt when we have that one device. Again, like that little speaker that I like so much, is a pain in the butt when you have that one device that uses micro USB still, or that uses that one phony banana sort of port. That means that you have to have that one special little cable with you. I think that if the fact that they're not doing it for the iPhone yet means that maybe they would much rather. Why change it when you can remove it entirely? I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that Apple's going to handle that. They're going to do that in a very, very positive way. Let's see. Ron Hellman. Hey, Ron. Nice to see you. Was anyone ever able to get you a copy of the White Christmas audio you recorded? I'm hoping to refine mine on an old backup drive someday, but just haven't so far. Yes, I do. Actually, I do have it. As a matter of fact, I also found my notes for my speaker notes for it. What I was hoping, this is my fault, I was hoping to remaster it, believe it or not, for 2020, but never got around to it. Which means that it's probably a good idea for me to simply repost the audio file and then spend the next 6 months remastering it, maybe even doing it on video and then releasing the remastered version for Christmas 2021. Because that was a lot of fun. I should do that again. Copper Thumb, you mentioned a gripe with the Walkman A55 a while back. What was it? Yes, the Walkman that I really, really like so much. Now, this was my fault. This is why, like, before I review something, I feel the absolute need to make sure that I can be arrogant about everything I complain about it. The thing is, the screen is very, very good, but it's not like a Retina grade screen, and so I could not see the little dimly grayed out button for turning shuffle play on and off, and so I didn't see it at all. And as a result, I thought that to go from listening to albums where I like to listen to the album, start with track number 1, end at the end wherever it ends, to the playlist where, of course, I want to shuffle play, that I had to go into menus to do that. It was such a pain in the butt, and I was like, usually my instincts are correct, where there is no way that they didn't have a simpler way of doing it than this, but darn if I couldn't find it. And finally, I got to the point of the evaluation where, okay, here's the point where I download the manual and I read every single damn page of it, because ideally something is well designed enough that you will find every feature on your own, or at least every important feature. I just didn't see that feature, and that was my fault. If I had really scrutinized that screen, I would have found it. It was just not someplace where I could really, really find it. Hello, Brad Johnson. Hello, Andy. Hello, Brad. I'm glad you made it to Mac Break today. Yes, I'm sorry. We had last week off. For some reason, I got into my head that we were off for the whole rest of the year. I don't know why. Fortunately, I was actually cleaning my office when I got a text message from the studio saying, where are you? Are you okay? Are you alive? So and I wasn't cleaning the office so aggressively that I'd taken down parts of my studio either. So again, apologies for that. I have a question about the M1 Mac Mini. I have a Canon M6 and I like taking land, nature, and cityscapes with it. Lately, I've been using Pixelmator Pro and Lightroom to process pics on a 2012 MacBook Pro 13-inch with 16 gig memory and 500 gigabyte drive. Slow erode salt on -10 degrees snow. Would the basic Mac Mini be a better unit with 8 gigabytes 256 drive? Yeah, no, it'll definitely blow the pants off of a 2012 MacBook Pro. No worries about that. Do try to. I would say you can get away with 256 gigs because, especially on a Mac Mini, because you can be probably plugging in external SSDs and stuff to it. You never want to. You always want to max out the RAM if you can afford it, because that's the one thing that will often be a choke point sometime in the future for the performance of a machine. Rob Collins, where do you go to get the music you keep? I have a library to rebuild after play music proved how valuable local control is. Yes, absolutely. There's nothing I hate more than like just what we had earlier with Apple TV, when they bought the rights to stream all the Peanuts, all the Charlie Brown specials, and suddenly you can no longer buy them on the Play Store or on iTunes or on the Amazon store digitally. The only way to get them was on DVD or on Blu-ray. So this wasn't my problem because I already had them on DVD and Blu-ray, and I'd already ripped them to my music server. But yeah, usually I buy almost everything on eBay because my God, it is such a buyer's market for media on eBay. The reason why, part of the reasons why I needed to clean up the office is that I'm involved in a lot of different projects that kind of take me to one place and another, and then I would do every part of the project except for, okay, the project is done, now let's tear down and put away everything that was involved in that project. So I have a lot of like CDs stacked up because I've been buying so many CDs because, good heavens, if there's when I finally fall in love with the CD on Spotify that I want to buy it, I can almost always find it for $5 including shipping. And one out of three times when I go to eBay to look for that secondhand copy, it's from a store that has like tens of thousands of different CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays. And maybe again, one out of three times they're doing some sort of offer where it's like spend $10, get like 30% off your order. One of the most painful ones was when, again, it was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I really wanted to go to bed soon. I was just going to buy this one CD, but I found the store that had it was offering I think it was, I want to say buy two, get three free. It was probably buy three, get two free, but something insane. And we're talking about like CDs that they were charging like $2 or $3 for. And so I wound up staying up for like an hour or two, place an order for like 20 different discs. And yeah, almost everything you can find for damn near next to nothing. I'm kind of now into this jag of trying to get the, again, this is why I need to clean up the office, to get like legitimate copies of Mystery Science Theater 3000s. That's, people have been putting like their tapes up on YouTube for ages, and I have lots of those, but I'm like, okay, I should it's weird when I say that, you know what, the honest thing would be to buy them on DVD. Like, okay, yes, but you're buying these like these 4 episodes on a set for like $8 used, and so you're not, the creators are not getting a cent off of this because it's a resale. But again, it's almost everything that I want I can just buy at this point. I just try to keep it rational, because even when you're getting a great deal of buying like a $20 DVD for $3, when you do that 10 or 20 times, suddenly you've just spent more money than you thought you were at 1:30 or 2 in the morning on a weekday. What's behind the screen behind you? You will never know. Not captive FedEx and UPS drivers, nothing like that. This is behind here is in my office. I've got the podcasting desk, and then behind here is the writing desk, and the writing desk is where I've got like piles of like research and like lots of like half drunk cans of seltzer and stuff like that. And one of the big hitches to doing Mac Break and other shows where I have to like stream video is that, oh, I have to keep this office super clean, because I'm not making enough money where I can do the thing that like the power streamers do, which is to just build a fake living room and build a fake office that does nothing except for be a backdrop for your videos. So, but then I realized that, oh, but if I buy this $50, $60 screen, I can just put that behind me and people don't have to see what's behind me. So hopefully I'll, after the office is super clean, uh maybe you'll get to see it sometime soon. Yes, we don't talk about what's the screen. Copper Thumb, do you have a 3D printer? If so, has the novelty worn off? Oof. I have a 3D printer. It's not that the novelty has worn off. It's just that it was like it was like at this point it's like a 6 or 7 year old 3D printer, and they work great, but you have to really want that thing that you're trying to print because it is so difficult to use. Now the modern ones are much much better. The things that make my old 3D printer so hard to use are either eliminated or the problems are very very much mitigated. And so I've been kind of getting the itch of uh, is either the worst thought that comes into my head is that okay, well here's oh wow, here's a new brand new 3D printer just came out like a month ago. People are saying all kinds of great things about it, and okay, it's $1,200, but Andy, we have $1,200, and we're going to make another $1,200 really quickly. So why not just buy it? And then that's when Dad voice comes in and says, yes, but there are goals that we have in life, long-term goals that make it important that we retain that $1,200 for as long as possible. That's yeah, okay. You're right, Dad voice. So yeah, I might get back into 3D printing at some point. It's great when I'm there's a I can't remember the name of the channel, but X Robots UK, I think. Makes robots, makes all kinds of devices, and uses 3D printing to make all the cases. And he that really does give me sort of the itch to maybe I should buy. Maybe I would think of new things to do with 3D printing if I had a modern 3D printer. But that's the sort of thinking that leads you to have like $1,000 exercise bicycle with all your loose clothing on it. So I try to be uh, I'm trying to be a little bit more careful with this sort of thing. Let's see if there's the teas made. Yes, don't tell Andy about the teas made. What a cool honestly, I don't if you ever like if you people like in Britain in England ever like the UK ever lose the trademark to the flag. If you have like a piece of cloth with a picture of a teas made on it, I can think of nothing that evokes all of Britishness than a combination alarm clock, tea maker, and isn't there also one that does toast? Like I can think of nothing that is more like just Wallace and Gromit was not invented all out of whole cloth. It was just it was a vibe that was easy for people who grew up there to tune into. Andy, can you provide a few of your favorite English TV shows? Thanks. Oh my goodness, I love reality competition shows that air only in the UK. They just wrapped up Artist of the Year, in which it's a competition in which in a series of 10 rounds they get nine different amateur and professional painters to paint three celebrities that sit for like 4 hour portrait, and the two judges like decide like the three shortlisted finalists, and then pick one that goes to the finals, and then the winner of this competition gets like a £10,000 commission to like paint Kim Cattrall for a national, basically one of the national museums like wants a portrait of I can't remember who's Scottish actor. He was in Cabaret. I'm sure Alan Cumming. There you go. And then the last episode is like the winner. The second to last episode is where they declare the winner, and the last episode is just like a special about the winner like developing this portrait with Alan Cumming, and then the unveiling at like the Scottish National Gallery or whatever. It's really really nice. Uh, uh, there's also one for pottery that's kind of like based on British Bake Show, but I don't want to call it funny, but the thing that's one of the things that makes it so endearing is that one of the master potters, who's one of the judges, is like he gets so involved and emotional. And again, not making fun of this, it is so sweet that when he sees it's for amateur potters, and he sees that someone who was struggling and figuring out how to pull a handle had pulled one perfectly for like the competition, the one they had to submit for competition, and the proportions are exactly right, and it's just a beautiful piece of pottery, and it seems to wash over him that this is shaped by this person's hands with care and love, and he actually just goes, the proportions are great. You have a good solid handle. It's just wonderful to look at, and it doesn't look fake at all. And you feel like such a like an ice-hearted Grinch if you think, oh yeah, it's fine. Oh yeah, Betty's really crying. Yes, he really is crying about that. And he does tech moan. Yes, I love tech moan. Love tech moan. He's this is there. I've gotten some. I've become very interested in like doing some stuff with video. If you take a look at my channel, you can see that wave go up and down every couple of years. Where try to figure out how to do video, never figured out how to do it. And really, it's channels like that, channels like Tech Moan's channel, Bernadette Banner's channel, things that Renee Ritchie and other people are doing that showed me that I was thinking about it entirely the wrong way. It one of the things that the reason why I'm doing this live chat again is that learning more about the software and the tools that you don't have to like sit down and write the show and then produce the show and then cut and edit the show and then conform the show and then release the show. It's like, no, you can just set up the camera, record what you say, ideally after 1 hour and 35 40 minutes. Maybe I would cut that down, but the thing about there are people who succeed and there are people who fail at video. And when I think about failure as the cautionary and illustrative tale, I think about I'm not even sure I want to name names, but because I'm being negative. But someone who used to do like movie commentary, like used to write about the movies, and he was doing a like a YouTube channel or a video series show that was being released on YouTube, and you could tell that he just didn't get it. It's like he didn't understand. Just like there are people who when movies had been a thing for a while, and then there was a transition to TV. A lot of people who are former movie stars couldn't make the transition because they didn't understand that TV is a much more intimate medium. And this guy really showed off. This is somebody who grew up sort of with the fantasy of I want to do like the Siskel and Ebert show for movies, or I want to do something that is like, I want to have a big fancy set and I want to have characters I interact with and lots of special effects. Instead of just going to the next segment, I want there to be like a big swoop and a fly in. I want to have this gadget that I have to pull the lever of to make it happen. And he had to do a Kickstarter because this thing was costing him so much money. And the thing is, it was just big stick, no love. It was like, I don't know what that means. I just heard it on Mythbusters once. I hope it's not something filthy. Uh, but you know, it's the equivalent uh, of one of those people in the background of a movie at a steel yard that his job is to press this grinder against a piece of steel and throw up lots of sparks without actually making anything. And that's what this show was all about. And so it really did teach me a lot about, oh, so what I want to do is not that. The great thing about streaming is that it really is just, okay, you are a dude sitting in your house in front of a camera that might even be built into your phone or laptop, and you're producing something interesting, entertaining, or nicely distracting on a regular basis. Go. So it doesn't matter that I don't have an actual green screen behind me. It doesn't matter that I don't have, again, the fake like waterfall set, the Zen meditation garden with office behind me. So long as I keep at it, maybe it'll be make mistakes in public. It's hard to be when you grow up from the age of 18, like writing and editing and then sending your stuff to an editor who then also edits and changes things and improves things before letting other people to see it. It's a scary thing to say, watch me screw up. Watch me make mistakes. Watch me have to get embarrassed and correct myself later on, because my neurological training is all about get it right. Do all the work so that by the time someone sees it, it's as right. So it's hard to let go of all of that. But I'm fascinated by what can be done with video. I'm in such admiration of people who fulfill their mission of informing people, sharing their point of view, and helping people through the medium of streaming. And I'm just blown away by how effortless they seem to make it, even though it's such a brave thing to have to try to do, especially when you actually see numbers of here's how many people are watching you right now. Here's all the people who thumbs up and thumbs down. Let's take maybe 2 or 3 more. Let's see. It just depends. I'm scrolling through. Favorite music listens of 2020. Tell you what, let me go into my Spotify. Yeah, this would be kind of a good thing to. This would be a good thing to make a public Spotify playlist with. Now, I do. Bob's Burgers, the show did like a Christmas album of all their Christmas music. They do so many really, really great Christmas songs. Let's see. The last thing I was looking at Rachmaninoff Preludes and Concertos. That's not really interesting. Uh, da, 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 da. It's not really the greatest. It's not really the greatest thing to go to for me to go through like my Spotify list of like recent stuff because I use Spotify mostly for discovery. Like I'll remember that. Oh wow, there's that's that episode of the of SCTV where the Plasmatics were the guests, musical guests. Like I forgot they're actually they're a little bit before my time, but they were kind of interesting. I wonder what their real music is like, and you get to actually listen to every single Plasmatics album. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to defer this question until later, but at least I came up with a pithy thing to say about the nature of Spotify. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna scroll down. I look forward to subscribing to your Twitch channel. Yeah, I wonder if you can actually see people like cheat at solitaire with actual playing cards on Twitch. Is that something to actually to stream for? Uh, Mr. Cats and Dogs, where to start with PG Woodhouse? Start with the Jeeves stories because they're short and they're dynamite, almost every single damn one of them. But my favorite novel of all the 100, he wrote close to, PG Woodhouse wrote close to 100 novels. Code of the Woosters is certainly one of my favorite books of all time because it's not just funny, it's also it's just like a super intricate comedic stage play with twists and turns. And there was one point like near the end of the book where the final like big twist, the big like plot point that I almost wanted. You ever been so pleased by something in a book you just wanted to like put the book down, stand up and just applaud and hope that somehow good vibes for the author would be felt wherever that author is at that given point in time. That was exactly what the way that it worked. Will Dean, I'm curious why you're using Spotify and not Tidal. Oop, hang on. I'm curious why you're using Spotify, not Tidal, given that Tidal has integration with Plex, and I know you're an avid Plex user. Mostly because my personal feelings about Plex are that for me, Plex is 100% for the media that I actually own. So if it appears in my Plex window and my Plex lists, it is a CD, it is a DVD, it is a Blu-ray, it is a streaming thing that I downloaded. It is something that I actually own. I don't want that to be infested with recommendations. I don't want to have to ask myself, oh, here's that album that I really like. Oh, wait a minute, do I own that, or is that part of the streaming service? See, and it's why Plex hasn't. It's not as though Plex has. I like it any less. It's just that I kind of regret that they're going so heavily towards it used to be this app that could only ever play things off of a server or off of local storage, and now it's like, oh, we have TV shows that we're giving you access to, and oh, and look, and we have radio stations and podcasts and news feeds. Like, don't give me any of that. I whenever I launch the Plex app, particularly on my TV, all I want to see is my personal media collection, and that's it. So it kind of annoys me. Rob Collins, what light is making the blue splash on the screen? Is it smart? And if not, would you make it smart? It is actually just an LED panel with an actual blue gel taped on top of it. It probably should be behind it instead of in front of it. It is not smart because I can just reach behind me and flick it on. I do have a whole bunch of smart plugs that, again, part of cleaning out the office is so that I can maybe reinstall a whole bunch of stuff and put up some shelves and stuff. Maybe I will automate that sort of thing. But for now, it's just simple enough just to switch it on and switch it off. Linda Powers, you inspired me to donate platelets. Thank you so much, Linda. Donate if you. Not everybody can donate blood and platelets, but you have no idea what a benefit it is to unknown people who desperately need it. So that you've done something really, really wonderful, Linda. I'm so happy that you did that, and you've made me very, very proud that I had anything to do with suggesting that you do that. Let's see, two more questions, and I'll just make I'll just yeah, looks like we have some here. Are you a fan of the Jeeves and Wooster show? Yes, absolutely. Uh, particularly because when you get a comedy team that's been working together forever, and they've got that sort of rapport between each other, and you also find that one of them is perfectly good at playing sort of like an upper class bachelor, good-hearted but not terribly bright person, and the other person is really really good at playing a tall authority figure who knows is very very clever, and is one step ahead of everybody else. Oh, that's just absolute perfection, absolute perfection. um Last question. Oh, Dennis Worcester, I'm headed to donate tomorrow. Again, thank you so much. That's such a great thing. I mean, my dad had cancer surgery, successful cancer surgery, like 20, 30 years before he passed away, and he did need a lot of blood. The surgery ended well, but it was very very complicated, and that was the sort of thing that kind of reminded me that, oh, that's right, blood and blood products are very very much needed. And the fact that my dad had all those units available to him are because of people unlike me who actually donated regularly, and as opposed to people who are exactly like me who donated maybe once or twice because there was a blood drive at his school or whatever. um Last question, let's see. Where did I get this? Where did I get the screen? The one behind me. I just bought it. I just bought it on Amazon, I think, or eBay. It's just a Japanese screen. As a matter of fact, I bought a second one for another room, and I was able to get like the exact same screen, exact like to the T from a different, but of course in a different box from a different manufacturer. So obviously, there's just a plant in China that's just manufacturing them. Uh, Oh, have I seen last question. Have I seen the video of the Birdie and Wooster stage play? I Not only that, but I actually saw the revival on Broadway of by Jeeves. This is the Andrew Lloyd Webber. This is his legendary show that didn't really work, but it's an Andrew Lloyd Webber show, and it has some very nice songs. So people keep trying to fix it and revive it, but it never really quite works. But this was back in the day of like 2000, maybe 1999, back when every theater prices were so cheap that if I bought a half price ticket, I was like, oh, that's just 40, 30 or 40 bucks. Yeah, I'll take a tumble on that sort of stuff. It was pretty good. The music was really, really great. It was very, very clever. There were some problems that left me kind of unsatisfied with it. It also had that problem where uh, the author of the musical was anticipating the audience being absolutely white hot, stamping their feet, tearing the place apart, demanding more music, and begging the cast, please don't stop performing, please don't stop singing, because there was like a whole bunch of reprises of previous songs that, let's say, were patiently received. But yeah, it's a good song. There are a couple of songs from that musical that are like in my regular playlists. Okay, well, that's probably going to do it for right now. So we're on for about an hour and 50 minutes, and I like to be aware of when I'm wearing out my welcome, and then stick around no more than 20 minutes after that. So this was a lot of fun. No promises, but I'm starting to think that maybe it'd be cool to do this every other week, uh, frequently enough that I get better at it, but not so frequently that I get tired of it, or I start to say, "Oh, damn, I have to do a live stream tonight. I'm such a fool. I could be eating Frito Lay chips, watching streaming video of people soldering on my 65-inch 4K HDR TV. But no, I must stream." Yeah. Also, people ever since the debacle of the app last night, people were, of course, recommending other like streaming helper apps, and I've been looking at some of them, and some of them are pretty cool. You love technology that gives you ideas for ways to communicate better, or ways to get you excited about creating things, and a lot of these tools really do give you that sort of thing. Like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I were actually just like showing off this app live, and not only being able to show off apps in a live stream, but some of these apps are really really good at overcoming some of my hesitation about doing like more traditional like YouTube videos, because I feel as though I'm pretty okay where if I want to do like a 10-minute video showing off an app or a concept I really, really like, I think I can just pop up an outline, put it on the screen and talk for 10 minutes and then stop. What really gets me is the 3 or 4 hours after that of like putting in a picture here and laying in some music here and having a title over here. And it's like, "Ugh, I just want to not do this ever again, ever more." But the ability to actually sort of mix that live as you're producing it, and yeah, there'll be some rough edges here or there, but the thing is, you'll get it done, and you had fun with it, and you actually did get to show off this Tot app on the Mac as you went. Okay, so thank you very, very much as usual. I'm very, very glad for all you people who showed up. I hope I didn't bore most of you. I'm as usual. Go to my Twitter feed at Anatco. That's where I'm going to post like links to future live casts. I'm not going to. I have not. I'm going to see if I can be one of those YouTubers who goes the longest without inviting you to smash something or click something. So I'm not going to do either. But there are features built in so that if you wish to have a quicker response time to notifications about things I'm doing here, you will get them. But mostly tune into Twitter. I think that when God raised his hand so forcefully last night, I think he showed that maybe it would be a good idea for me to like do these on Tuesday nights instead of Monday nights or any other night. The nice thing for me about Tuesdays is that obviously we record Mac Break on Tuesday afternoon. So I'm already going to be stuck at home or stuck in the office anyway, assuming that we reach the after times in which we are free to make social plans for the evening. And so if I'm going to be stuck in the house anyway, great. I don't have to I won't be feeling bitter that, oh man, I have to do a live chat. I'd love to go out and George Lucas is like throwing pebbles at my window saying, come out and play. We've got kites and we're playing stickball with you guys in the street and we want you to join the team. And I say, sorry, George Lucas, I've always wanted to meet you. I'm a big fan, but unfortunately I committed to doing a live stream. And then it would probably come out as anger for you people. I don't want that to happen. So once again, thank you all so much. It does give me a great amount of delight that there are still so many people here watching, and I hope that it was pleasant for you. I certainly had a good time. So until next time, be safe, be happy, take care of each other. Bye bye.